Hello everyone, this is Lord Shadrach. I'm making yet another obscure media video here, or audio, whatever you want to call it. And I must say that if you've seen my prior video on Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful for the feedback, if any, I have received. This time around, I want to talk about a comic book that I really like. Although it was 6 videos, this time around, I want to talk about a comic book series. It lasted for only 6 issues, and a little bit of an anecdote about myself as to how I came across it. I remember many years ago, I was at Walmart, and we came across these treasure boxes, these cardboard treasure boxes of comic books. So me and my brother, of course, we bought one each, thinking, hey, cool comics, we're going to have a treasure cove of comics and, spend our afternoons reading them and enjoying them. So anyways, I read these comics. They had a couple of Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, and a couple of obscure comics and everything like that. But the one comic book that stuck out to me was a 6-issue series. And I'm amazed they had all 6 issues in this little treasure box of comics. It was called Boof. B-O-O-F. That's how it was spelled, Boof. And it was about this alien by the name of Boof, who crash lands on Earth, and he befriends this kid named Nick. Now, this was not E.T., because Boof was all about fighting and kicking ass and taking names, and even befriending the neighbor's dog, Buddy. And let me tell you, this comic actually was very silly. Here we have is a space alien that plays, in the first comic book, Nick shows Boof around and plays baseball with him. And apparently what happens is Boof, being from the planet Smash Mouth, which is a planet of warriors, Boof thinks that this baseball game is actually a war. And he eventually starts taking the bases literally. He just runs around like the baseball diamond, taking all the bases and says, the war continues, I'm on my way, and all this other crazy stuff. And another one is where Boof and Buddy, at first Boof and Buddy hated each other. Buddy being the dog, Boof being the alien. They hated each other with a passion and played all sorts of pranks on each other. And then apparently what happens is Buddy is kidnapped by the dog catcher, so Boof has to go rescue him because Boof is like, I'm doing this not for myself, I'm doing this for Nick, and ends up becoming friends with Buddy. Boof, that is. And it's just hilariously awesomeness. And there was another one I remember where where Nick in this comic book goes fishing, and they capture this giant fish and just Boof beats the crap out of it. It's one of those comic books that really deserved a lifelong series, but for some reason they just never went past issue 6, which ended with Boof going to the zoo. And if you ever get a chance to find any links to it or anything like that, it's worth your time. It's worth your time because it's pretty interesting. Of course, it's easy for a quick read. Now, for those of you wondering who made this wonderful comic, Boof, it was made by Image Comics, the same group of people responsible for Gen 13 and Spawn, And the thing is for some reason, Boof never went past issue 6. Did they cancel it, or they just told the story they wanted to tell? I don't know. I will say this, it was a great comic, worth reading, and for a while that's all I would read, is for a month or so, I would read these Boof comics over and over again, and my brother was like, oh God, Shadrach, why are you reading that crap? It's stupid. I was like, who cares what you think? If I like it, that's my business, That's why I like obscure media, It's just something that I enjoy doing and enjoy watching, Hey, that's my business. But anyways, now Boof did have his own little spin-off comics that were called Boof and the Bruise Crew. And that is so obscure, I don't even know if anybody knows of it. It is the most obscure comic of all time. And to tell you the truth, if they really did start releasing Boof again as a comic book or as a TV show or a film, I would be interested in watching it. I see a lot of obscure media and obscure comics that deserve remakes or to be reintroduced to the mainstream media, and Boof is one of them. If you ever get a chance after watching this video to Google Boof Comics, please do so. It is worth your time. You might think it's crazy, you might think it's off-putting, you might think it's bland, but that's beside the point. Some obscure media is worth giving a shot if you're willing to give it a chance. So if you ever watch this video in its entirety, please do yourself a favor, Google Boof Comics and see what it has to offer. Until then, this is Lord Shadrach.